Hi guys, welcome back for another video. I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time, and I guess the thing that sort of galvanized me to make the video is the election of Donald Trump. I was having a discussion the other day with, a friend of mine, and they'd said how they don't like Hilary Clinton. And I asked why, and they said, well, she's just really ambitious and, stay with her husband only because, she thought that it would help her, win election one day. And I said, what's wrong with that? And, the person kind of was a bit taken aback. And we then went on to have a discussion about why is it that society seems to really dislike ruthlessly ambitious women. And I think it's in two parts. Society is willing to forgive men for calculating their way to positions of power. We kind of admire that trait in a man. So if a man is willing to step on the neck of another man, if he is willing to, trash the reputation of another man to get to where he gets to, we look at him with admiration because he was willing to let go of his moral compass, or rather destroy his moral compass in the name of ambition. But when a woman does that, it becomes a problem because we expect women to be inherently moral, good people who don't, give up their morals for the sake of ambition. And this is why I think people had so much of an issue with Hilary Clinton, because so many men who are in positions of power have done far worse things than she has done and still ascend to positions of power. So we know so much about Donald Trump and his the way in which he acquired his money. We know so much about his business dealings and, his willingness to, destroy his opponents to make money. And he was willing to cheat on his first wife, to marry his second wife. And from all accounts, he was willing to cheat on his second wife to acquire his third wife. And, we seem to be okay with that. We seem to be okay with him not having a moral compass. But when it comes to Hilary Clinton, it's not possible for her to potentially actually have stayed with her husband because she genuinely loved him, to have stayed with her husband because her child was a teenager at the time when all this scandal was going on. And she didn't want to break up her family home by leaving her husband. It's not possible for her to want to have protected her daughter's legacy, knowing full well that, she will always be the daughter of a president. So she wanted to protect his legacy. And it's not possible for her to have destroyed the reputation of those women because actually, genuinely, she felt, you willingly slept with my husband. And now when the relationship is over, you want to come and destroy my husband, by extension my child, because people are talking about your husband and effectively wanting to impeach him. That has a huge impact on your child. And you are also coming for my child's legacy and my legacy by default because I'm part of this family. And, we look at, let's just bring a more modern example, a more recent example, is Beyonce and her Lemonade album. And on it was a song called Sorry, right, where she's talking about Becky with the good hair, and everybody assumed it was Rachel Ray that she was talking about. And if, Beyonce didn't go out and destroy this woman, but I wonder if a part of her knew that, people would speculate and assume that it was this Rachel Roy who was the woman that was sleeping with her husband. Now, she didn't go and, sort of plant stories about, Rachel Roy, or maybe she did, who knows. But she was protecting her legacy. She wants to be and she's an ambitious woman, right? So she wants to be, the first $1 billion couple. She wants to protect her child's legacy. And she wants to protect her man because she loves her man, right? So she is going to let the dragging of Rachel Ray to commence. And Rachel Roy was dragged to the pits of hell. I was here for it, right? because if it was me, I probably would do the same thing. But we forgave Beyonce, but we didn't forgive Hillary Clinton for doing something fairly similar, to be honest. Okay, but she might have, not been the one to, send stories to the news media or try and destroy these women on a personal level. But she certainly let her attack dogs do it. And if she did that, what is wrong with that? Because plenty of men, where they have affairs with women, and those women want to reveal to the world that they were sleeping with this a man, have their reputations destroyed, just as Donald Trump tried to destroy the reputations of those women that came out and said that he'd sexually molested them, just as Bill Clinton and his team tried to destroy the reputation of all those women that came out and said that sorry, did I say Bill Clinton? Bill Cosby came out, his legal team came out and tried to destroy the reputation of those women. But we forgive those kind of men because it's okay for them to protect their legacy. But if you're a woman and you're trying to protect your legacy and protect your long-term ambitions, and actually to think maybe I want to be X, Y, and Z in the future, so these are the kind of chess moves that I have to make in order to achieve the ambition that I've got in my mind, people have a problem with it. And I just think it's just so wrong that we have to treat men and women on an equal footing. So many women will judge Hilary Clinton on a much, much harsher level than they will, another man. Women are a lot more critical of each other than they are of men, because to some degree we've, I guess, swallowed this idea of patriarchy and that men are always right. And for a lot of women, they don't actually want to ascend to, great levels of ambition. Lots of women are quite comfortable being at home and being looked after by their husband. And that's not something, for anybody to judge or, discourage. If that's what you genuinely want, then fine. But please don't, as a woman who chooses that path, then judge a woman much harshly than you would a man. Because in the same way that you probably wouldn't want any of your children to be judged much more harshly as women than you would want for your sons, why would you accept that for another woman who is trying to do what she thinks is the right thing and ascend to a position of power where she can change things for the better? At least that's what she has in her mind. Maybe that's not what she has in her mind. Maybe her overriding charge is really just to be in power for the sake of being in power. But whatever be the case, if you're willing to accept that in a man, then you should be willing to accept it in a woman. And I just think that we need to be really honest as women about these kind of conversations where we as women don't make things equal for ourselves in our minds by treating the behavior of a man and the behaviors of a woman on the same level. So that's the end of my rant. I will probably be back with a view on Donald Trump, but if you have any comments or if you think I'm wrong or whether you agree with me, drop me a line or drop me a note in the comment box and I will try to reply. Thanks guys, bye.